Hello, I am recording this introduction for an edited live stream from yesterday. A couple things went wrong with it. One of the things that went wrong with it that I didn't realize until just recently is that the beginning of that live stream yesterday had some video glitches. So this is a new introduction. That Windows Daily from yesterday was called Windows Daily number 60, creating a Microsoft account for setting up other people's computers. Also, I want to address a question that was asked, or a subject that was brought up. I am not proposing this as the preferred way to set up a new computer where you actually are setting it up with the Microsoft account. I still favor and prefer setting up a computer using one of the methods for doing a local user account. And then if the end user is going to wind up getting the computer once associated with a Microsoft account, we can do that. But this is an alternative. This is another tool in the toolbox for the technicians. And possibly with Windows 11, Microsoft might wind up blocking all the methods for setting up a computer with a local user account. So far, we can still get around that. So this method that I'm about to propose and show and demonstrate through this live stream from yesterday is just an alternative. Is that enough? So that the date today, yesterday's today's date, September 22nd, 2022 at 9 a.m. And here I'll return you to the previously live streamed show. Is the notion of doing this title of this video was from reading the chat comments. I'm not going to actually go pull up the chat comments specifically, but I particularly focused on comments from Selden Ball, Ran Israel, Lawn Dog, and Gary Weisenberger. And Selden in particular was asking, what's the implications of using your own Microsoft account? Don't do that. Definitely don't do that. You can connect it later to their Microsoft account, but if Windows was installed or first initialized with your account, there's a lot of connections that are made. I think I have a video back in my channel somewhere about removing the original Microsoft account, and man, there's a lot of stuff to do, and still I don't trust it. So this plan is to create a separate Microsoft account, not the one that you actually use for your own stuff, whether or not you use something for your own stuff, but creating a Microsoft account that's in your control specifically for the purpose of setting up a computer when you don't have your customer or client's Microsoft account credentials. Then when you give the computer to them, create an additional user on that computer with their own Microsoft account. Don't try to convert the initial Microsoft account to their account, because that's just going to get messy. And also, we probably won't get to actually setting up a computer today. Today's going to be focused on creating your own Microsoft account for this purpose. And then a subsequent video will be setting up a computer utilizing that account as the primary account for that computer. Then the customer's account would be an additional account on there. Now, one of the nice things that gives you is if they mess up their account somehow, or they can't log into their computer, your account would still work for logging in to that computer with a local admin rights. So that's a way to be able to perhaps rescue a troubled computer down the road. Another thing that would give you is, let's say, for instance, Windows updates aren't working somewhere down the road. Well, you could try logging in with your account, see if the updates will work there, and that'll give you a clue as to whether the problem is with the end user's account or your account or the computer. It's always nice to have some kind of a backdoor account on the computer, so that if the active user runs into a problem, you can go see if the problem exists on the original account. Let's see some other things that were in those comments. I just copied them to Microsoft Word. I'm not going to switch over to it. There was also some conversation about the passwords. let's go take a look at that. If you go to a website, how secure is my password? And that's actually being run now somewhere else. It tells you now it's at security.org. And so I just tried a couple of passwords yesterday. Let's see, I'm going to put in the password that I used for my that password manager. Oh, come on, what is it? It's not, that's almost not LastPass. I'll just click on that there and see it's RoboForm. Yeah, so RoboForm. Let's see, and so 19 septillion years for the password, and I type this in just about every day because Big Beast Build is you know, the computer's supposed to be remembering my password from one session to another, but it doesn't. It seems to be broken. I need to uninstall and reinstall RoboForm. We're in trouble when I couldn't even remember the name of that program for that amount of seconds. Now, then I also tried a password yesterday that a client has, and he considers this to be his top level password. So let's see, it was, I got to be careful not to actually pronounce the words. So this one was 1 week. And then there's another one that I looked at recently. Let's see, it was this one. And there, so 16 hours, you know. So doing multiple words is very, very effective. Let's see, that one that I put in yesterday for that account that I made up. So there's 2 million years. But the last character that I typed there, if I just repeat that a second time, just double that one character. Instead of 2 million years, I get 200 million years. One of the comments in chat was if you use words, they can use dictionary cracking tools to go after that. But what most commonly is happening these days, that might change later down the road, but a password hash will get stolen from a major company. And then in the dark web, amongst all the hacker community, there's some of them that specialize in cracking passwords from hashes. So what they'll do is they'll run algorithms to try to figure out what password generates that particular hash. And then once they get that associated with an email account, they'll go try that with using automated tools on all the different types of accounts that there might be on different websites to see if that particular person that they've cracked their password has used that same password on other sites. Well, these password hash cracking tools, they're going to get the easy ones first. So they try all these dictionary combinations and just brute force hacking where they're just trying all the possible combinations of all of the characters. I think that's actually what this one that we're looking at here is, I think, brute force, meaning it's just trying all the possible combinations, perhaps not using words. So if they used words, but then I also use numbers and symbols, but if you had only words, there's probably tools that will be going after those. But my point is that it's like the old story about the two gentlemen going on a hunting trip. The guy driving the cars brought his friend along. The friend says, "Hey, let's see, this must be Ken. Ken, thanks for bringing me along on this hunting trip. I always wanted to try my hand at this." And Ken says, "Well, that's okay, Doug. I'm glad to have you along. I'm really glad to have you along." Doug says, "Ken, well, what are you going to do if a bear starts chasing us?" And Ken says, "Well, Doug, I'm going to run." "You can't outrun a bear. I only have to outrun you." So your password, if it's more complex than the others that are in the hash, that makes it less likely that they're going to keep trying to get to you. Once they get a certain percentage of passwords cracked in that hash, they're going to go sell those credentials on the dark web. So having a long one that takes longer for those types of hacking tools is a good thing. You outrun your friend who can't run as fast as you when you're being chased by a bear. All right, I'm going to bring back to the camera. I'm going to pop open the chat. I'm not going to be reading through the chat. As you, I think, realize over the days, I'm thinking I want to get away from that because it just takes too much time. I want to get into the content. So nobody's trying to alert me to a problem here. And oh, by the way, Ken Stout, I didn't see that your video wasn't scheduled. So let me know in chat if your video is now scheduled, and I'll go do the auto redirect. But now let's go to set up this other account. So what I'm going to do for this, I don't want to use my current Microsoft account. So I'm going to open Microsoft Edge and go into incognito mode. So it should ignore my Microsoft account that's already present. Do you want to automatically assign? Not now. And then click on the three-dot menu and new in private window. So I always go to office.com anytime I want to do something because it's just a convenient, easy thing for me to remember. Any of Microsoft's methods, you should be able to do this. Now, I did not go research this to see what I need to do to set up a brand new account. I'm going to try clicking here on sign in, and then I'm going to create a new account. And I'm going to come up with an account name that I want to use for setting up people's accounts. Now, if I already have an email address that I want to use for this, I could put it in here. That's what I demonstrated yesterday. That's not quite what I do. I want to actually create a new email account and a new Microsoft account. So I'm going to do it through Microsoft because if I use an outside email account, it complicates things when I go to set up a new computer. When I set up a new computer, if I put in the email address for the Microsoft account that I want to use for that, and it's not a Microsoft address, then I'm probably going to have to go to another computer and open up that email account, maybe do a two-factor sign-in to get into it. So I'd rather just make it all Microsoft. If I'm creating this account for complying with Microsoft's way of doing things, let's just put it all in Microsoft. So I'm going to create a new email address. I could choose Outlook.com or Hotmail.com. I can't think of much reason to do one over the other, except Outlook.com, you can access it through a web browser. You don't have to use Outlook for it. Hotmail.com, would that be a more direct access? Yeah, I don't know. I'll go ahead and choose Outlook.com. And then I'm going to call this DougBetts Clients as the email address. Okay, that's reasonably. That kind of tells me that this is the email address that I'm using for setting up client accounts. Now you can use a phone number instead. I'm not sure what the upside or downsides of that is. That's an interesting idea. That could be useful for setting up computers. I'll look at that separately. Click next and then create a password. So I'm gonna make some notes here and so that I know what I'm doing, and I did not preconceive this either. I'll do, here we go. There. All right, so there, that's the password. And did I type that correctly? So I've got to switch over here to my camera and click on the eyeball so that I can make sure I type that correctly. Fairly easy to type. I did type it correctly. Now I'm going to go back to that How Secure is My Password page and show you how that one did. So $7 quadrillion. I'll take it. I would like information tips. No, I would not. Thank you very much. Click next. So this is just creating the email account that I'm going to use for setting them up, but it is a Microsoft account. So I don't have to do a second step. If I was going to create an email account hosted by someone other than Microsoft, actually create that account, then after creating that, then I got to come back in here to Microsoft and use that email address to sign up here. And then I would have to go prove that I actually own that email address. So doing this as a Microsoft address is going to be better. Solve the puzzle. Click next to actually see the puzzle. So now pick the image that is the correct way up. And I'm going to guess that it's this one, just at random. Now, if I don't like this one, if this one's a little too difficult for me, I'll click on this refresh, and that's going to take me back to here. Click to next again, and now I get a different one. That looks pretty similar. And we're going to say this is the one that's right side up. There, I've created the account. So now that account I'm not going to use for any of my personal stuff. I'm only going to be using it for setting up setting up computers for clients, for other people, where I don't have their account credentials. Now, it's quite possible that I may wind up becoming convinced that I like this method so much that I just might routinely set this up even on computers where I do know the credentials for their Microsoft account. And then after setting it up with my client's Microsoft account, the account that I created for me to use for setting up computers, then I'll set up an extra user account with their account if I have their credentials. I'll go ahead and set that up. Now, one of the things that you need to be aware of is when you are setting up the computer for them, using your own account, that is your Windows account on that computer. The configuration stuff that you like to do about turning off the notification icons down there in the taskbar and some other things about the desktop, some of those aren't going to carry forward to their user account because some of those are user-specific items. Some of those are computer-specific items. So you could install programs like you could install Adobe Acrobat Reader or whatever else might be your routine of programs that you install. Those will carry over to the new account. But some of the user configuration things aren't going to show up on their account. Now, I haven't clicked on anything else. What we got here? Welcome to Office. So it tells you some stuff here about that account that you just created. When you get premium, these are the extra stuff that you get. And then let's get your Office set up. And check mark that'll go away. So now that is it. We're done. We have created the account to be used for setting up somebody else's computer. Now, Ken, I'm going to look to see if you've got your stream set up to see if I can configure to auto redirect people to your stream because I'm getting close to finished here. Clicking on the add redirect, and I guess I can show this. Search videos from other channels, and yes, there it is. I'll click on Ken's video and then click save and then come back to here. And the one last thing that I'll do on this Microsoft account, well, here's telling us about these more apps. You got all these tips to go through. We can click on that X to close this rather than going through them. I've kind of gotten a habit of clicking through them again because if you just click on the X to close it, at least sometimes it seems to come back again until you cave in and go ahead and do it. So now if I click on Outlook, that'll actually take me into the email for that account. Oh, this is good. We want to do this extra stuff. So Ken, it's going to be a little while yet. It wants some details about this account. So I can put in my name. It's okay that my name exists on other Microsoft accounts. This is a separate account because it's the email address that is unique. And then here again, we get the birth date business. I will be putting in my correct birth date. I'm not going to display that again. I'm not going to display that on YouTube again, as I described yesterday. United States. Okay. Then, well, I'll give you this much. My birthday's in December. Then I'll come back. If you're following my channel, or particularly also the Fortnite channel, you probably have figured this out by now, and that's okay. I don't mind that. I just don't want the bad folks out there on the internet that might see one of my videos. I just don't want to hand it to them that quick and easy. Oh, wait a minute. No, my birth year? That's not right. I just put in 2022 as my birth year. Now, if I had the date set as yesterday, that would be claiming that I was born yesterday, which sometimes some of you are thinking that is the case. No, I was not born yesterday. Now it goes to another page asking to confirm my age, and it shows the date that I just put in. Doesn't actually has my age as a number. It says please confirm your age, but it doesn't display my age. It's just displaying my birth date. Okay, that's Doug being picky. So I'm clicking next without showing that to you. And that gets me into Outlook it looks like. Outlook it looks like. See what I did there? Doug, shut up. Okay. Now look at this. Here's one of the things I thought would be interesting. What advertising clutter comes to me even though I've never used this email account? Right off the bat, Hyundai. Hyundai's got junk mail coming in to this brand new Microsoft email account. And I think it's going to be interesting. I bought an Elantra for my daughter. It was her first car. And Outlook team. So it's going to be interesting without me ever using email in this account to see what other junk mail comes up. Interesting. When I go to sign into another computer, it's with that account. I haven't turned on two-factor authentication. I thought it was going to prompt me for that. It didn't. So let's go do that. Up here in the upper right corner, I'll click on the profile icon. Let's see. I'm not sure what shows up. I haven't put anything in here that I don't want you to see, though. So that should be okay. So I'll go to my Microsoft account and turn on two-factor authentication. Even though I'm not going to be using this as my email account, I don't want somebody else hijacking that account and potentially messing up my clients' computers. I don't think they would be able to do that because when I use this account to set up clients' computers, I'm not going to associate it to the account. I think I can avoid doing that. Not certain about that one yet. So looking for security. Here's security. And security dashboard, change password, see sign-in activity, additional security options. Looks like it's going to be in there. We'll set up a two-factor. Help us protect your account. Passwords can be forgotten. Just in case, add security info now to help you get back into your account. If something goes wrong, we won't use this info to spam you because we already have enough information to spam you. We don't need this info to spam you. Yeah. What security info would you like to add? I'm going to take that off screen. Okay, yeah, so alternate address or phone number. So I'm going to put in phone number, and then I'll click down here and actually put in the phone number. I'm not going to display that on YouTube for obvious reasons. And then it says they're going to send me a text to verify this phone number. So I'm going to click next. And it says that we just sent a code to, and it displays the number, so I'm not going to show you that. And there it is. They give me a 4-digit number, so I'll put in that code. I can't show you that. I could if I were to go to the effort of blurring out my phone number. And then I'll click next. And that gives me to this screen, verify your identity text. So when I click here, it looks like it's going to send me the code again. And this should not display the number when I click on it, because that would be a security concern. Yeah, so what that did is that displays it this way. We will send a verification code to this number that ends with 00. To verify this as your phone number, enter the last 4 digits, including 00. So they want me to enter not a code that they're sending me. They want me to put in the last 4 digits of the phone number. And I'm not going to display that to YouTube. And then I'll click Send Code. Now it's sending a code. And it is displaying on this screen the last 4 digits of my phone number, so I'm not going to do that. Now it's giving me on my cell phone a 7-digit code. I'll type that in. I'm not showing it to you because they are displaying the last 4 digits of my phone number. And there's a check mark here for don't ask me again on this device. So if I try to sign into this again on this computer, it's not going to ask me for that verification again. I'm going to remove that check mark. Since this is my rarely used account that I'm going to be using on a different computer, I'd rather have it ask me for that every time so that I remember and I am conscious that I do have two-factor authentication set up on this account. So I'm removing that check mark and clicking verify. Now, I was in an incognito anyway. I'm not sure if that check mark for remember this computer would have worked while I'm in incognito mode. Maybe, maybe not. And then we've got, here we got break free from your passwords. Get the smartphone app to sign in without a password. It's more convenient, more secure. No, I'm not going to do that. The problem with that I've had in the past is my two-factor apps on my phone get pretty cluttered because I have a lot of client account confirmations in there. And last time I switched from one phone to another, took time to get everything set up and changed over. And during that changeover process, if I needed to log into one and do one of those codes right away, that was going to be a nuisance. And then also, I had LastPass. I had a premium account, LastPass, and LastPass app on my computer. Then I switched to RoboForm, and then I canceled LastPass, forgetting that I had a bunch of two-factor codes in my cell phone app, and that just blew those all apart. And those hadn't been all carried over to RoboForm, so I went back and reactivated my LastPass account. So I'm really liking sticking with text confirmations. Now, the problem with that, text confirmations, is not as secure as using those two-factor apps on your phone because of the potential for SIM card swapping, where if a bad guy is targeting you specifically, they could convince your cell phone provider to roll your phone number over to their SIM card. That's a pretty high-level targeted attack. I just don't see the evildoers out there, criminals, finding me an interesting enough target. So I'm feeling kind of okay at this point in time with text messaging codes. So I'm going to say no thanks for that. All right, so there we have two-step verification is turned off. So we haven't turned that on yet. So all I've done there so far is I've given them the phone number for a second method of verifying. I haven't told it that I want to force that. I could set for passwordless account by using one of their other methods. And I'm not going to go into that now, but two-step verification is the piece that I want to turn on. So that every time I try to log in on a computer that I haven't used that check mark to say, remember me on this device, every time I log in on the other devices, I want a text message sent to me for a code. Make sure you have up-to-date security, set up an authenticator app, write down your recovery code, create apps, app passwords for app devices. So I'm going to go back to my camera once in a while because if they're going to display a recovery code, I don't want to be displaying that. Okay, so here what it took me to. How else can we verify your identity? To finish setting up, we need one more way to make sure you're you. How would you like to receive a verification code? Here's offering me the Microsoft Authenticator app. And actually, I use a Google Authenticator app for authenticating to Microsoft accounts. I haven't yet installed the Microsoft Authenticator app on my phone. I already have a few a few others of those apps on my phone. And they're not labeled very well. They don't identify themselves very well. So a phone number, verify my identity with a phone number. I'm going to click on that. Okay, now it's asking me for the phone number, so I'm going to put it. So this is a different place that we're putting in the same phone number. That first place we put it in was just for an alternate way to verify the account if I lose my password. But this was for two-factor authentication. And it's not assuming that I'm going to want to use the same phone number for it. Or maybe it's a totally different security system within their servers. I don't know. So I'll click in here and put in that phone number. And click next. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, all right. So here, how else can we identify? They're saying this is already part of your security. Well, fine. I want you to use that. How do I do that? I don't want another. I want you to use that as the method. What am I not understanding here? So here, I would have thought it would have offered me that phone number that I want to use. I don't want another method. I want to turn two-factor authentication on. And using that phone number I've already given you is fine. Ways to prove who you are. We interrupt this video that you're watching to bring you a short message. What you've been watching so far is an edited version of the live stream video from yesterday. It's edited because something glitched during that live stream and because I didn't get the solution. So now I'm going to try to finish up with the right solution. The piece that went wrong yesterday was that I accidentally exposed my cell phone number on YouTube, and yeah, I'm not okay with that. The people that were watching live at the time are part of our community. I'm not too worried about that being exposed to them. So just a little open honesty there. That was what went wrong yesterday. Now, what I was trying to accomplish, though, was the two-step verification. I created this DougBetts client's email account, a Microsoft account, and I want two-step verification to be on. Well, it took my phone number for authenticating the account, but it's not insisting on that every time that I try to sign into the account, and I want it to. So I can add a new way to sign in or verify. That's not what I want. I don't want to add a new way. I want it to use this phone number with two-step verification. So here I have a link for turning it on, and up here I have this link for manage. Either one of those is probably going to do it. So I'll click down here. Two-step verification adds an extra layer of protection for your account. After you turn it on, we'll ask you to do the additional security code. Make sure you have up-to-date security info, yada, yada. I think we saw this screen already. So click Next. How else can we verify your identity? To finish setting up, we need one more way to make sure you're you. I want you to use my cell phone with a text message. I'm getting the idea that that's not an option here. A phone number, I already tried putting that in. When I put in my current phone number, it says we already have that. So it's looking to me like it wants this done using another method. I could use my regular email address. I think I'll do that. I'm disappointed to find out that I can't get it to send me a text message. I've already given you my phone number. I want you to use that as the second factor when I log in. It looks like that's not an option. All right, so I'll put in an email address. I'll use DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts LiveWindowsTraining.com. Now, my YouTube channel name is LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts. That's not the email address that I have associated with that YouTube channel. It's DougBetts at LiveWindowsTraining.com. And then click Next. And then enter the code that was sent to that location. So that has shown up on my watch, giving me a security code 6978. That's not a secret because that is a one-time code, 6978. Oh, and it's not even doing asterisk when I type it. Click Next. Here we've got two-step verification is turned on. If you ever need to recover access to your account, this code will help. You should print it or write it down, store it in a safe place. We strongly recommend that you don't store your recovery code on a device. If you previously had a recovery code, it is no longer valid. Use this new code instead. So what I'm going to do is copy that code, and on another screen, I already have a LastPass open up to this account. So I switch over here and I'm going to put it into the notes section of LastPass, because if somebody gets into my LastPass account, they can do all kinds of account takeovers. So I'll paste that into here and then click Save. Yeah, looks like that'll do it. And then click Next. There are a few steps you need to take to make sure all your apps and devices work with your Microsoft account. You need to create an app password for apps or devices that don't accept security codes. First, if you sync your Outlook.com email with your smartphone, choose a link below to get instructions. So I'm not going to be doing any of that for this account. I'll click Next. Use any of the following. So this tells me how to deal with passwords on those. Click Finished. And there it looks like I'm done. Now, to test this, let's sign out. Well, I should be able to just close this browser. Close that, and then go back again into guest browsing. Live.com, sign in. I'm expecting a two-factor authentication now. Microsoft account, oh, clients, plural. Then the password for that. Then verify the identity, and it's going to send me an email. Does not give me the option here to, oh, now here's interesting, for an email. But what if I wanted to send me a text? This more verification method should then go to use the text method. Yes, so it can do that method as an alternative here. But I could not use my cell phone number as the two-factor authentication. That wasn't really two-factor authentication, and it was multi-factor authentication, meaning more than two. Because the first authentication was the password. Now I've got two more. So that's three authentication methods. Now it wants the last four digits of the cell phone number. I'm not going to display that. And now it asks for the four-digit code that they sent. And here it's displaying that 4 digits of the cell phone number. I guess they never took into consideration that somebody might be trying to demonstrate all this on YouTube. There we're signed in. Stay signed in? No. Okay. So But Doug from yesterday is going to do the sign off bit right now. Bye. I hope that's been useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.